This is series 15, right? Make I the subject of the relation in association to U, then J, H, and J, right? So our given equation is U equals then W and J equals HI over JW, right? The fraction HI over JW. So in tackling questions like this, you first solve for one equation, then you insert your answer into the other equation, right? So now our first equation given is U equals VW, right? Okay. And our second equation given is J equals HI over JW, right? Which is equation 2. So from equation 1, right, which is U equals VW, okay, we have U equals VW, okay. So we want W to be the subject of the relation in equation 1. So we divide through by V. So when you divide through by V, whatever you do for the right hand side, you do same for the left hand side, right? So hence we are going to have our W to be U, the fraction U over V equals the fraction V W over V, right? So this V would cancel itself out. This V will cancel itself out here. Okay. So you are going to have W equals U over V, right, as our equation 3. So that means that wherever we see W in any equation in this question, we have to insert the fraction U over V into that spot, right? So putting equation 3 into equation 2, right? So equation 2 was giving us J equals HI, J equals the fraction HI over JW, right? So that means wherever we see W here, we have to put in the values or the fraction U over V, right? So where W equals U over V, okay, as explained earlier on. So we are going to have our J equals the fraction HI over J multiplying U over V, right? So in simplifying it, this J has an invisible one here. Every number is divisible by 1, so this J has an invisible number. Yeah. And when multiplying fractions, right, the numerator multiplies the numerator, the denominator multiplies the denominator. So J, which is a numerator, will multiply U, which is a numerator. 1, which is a denominator, would multiply V, which is a denominator. So we are going to have J to be J multiplying U, which is UJ, right? And 1 multiplying V, which is the same V, right? So we are going to have our J to be the fraction HI over the fraction UJ over V, right? So this means that J equals HI divided by, okay, divided by the fraction UJ over V, right? So this HI here has an invisible one, right? Okay, so it has an invisible one as explained earlier on, like every other number, right? So we are going to have our J to be HI, the fraction HI divided by 1, or we are going to have our J to be the fraction hi over 1 divided by the fraction uj over v, right? So here, this division sign here would have to change its form, right? Okay, so when dividing a number by a fraction, you actually perform multiplication, right? Because dividing by a fraction is equivalent to multiplying by its reciprocal. Okay, so dividing by a fraction is equivalent to its reciprocal, as I said earlier on, because of the fundamental properties of division and multiplication, right? So this gene, okay, would metamorphose to multiplication, and when it does, it takes a reciprocal form, right? So that means this uj over v would change its form. Okay, it will turn upside down in a layman's voice, that it will turn upside down. So uj over v will give you v over uj, right? As the mathematical sign changes or metamorphizes to multiplication, the mathematical sign of division, right? So we are going to have our new equation here to be j equals the fraction, okay, hi over 1 multiplying the fraction v over uj, right? And as I explained earlier on, when you are doing multiplication for fractions, right, the numerators multiply the numerators, the denominators multiply the numerator, the denominators multiply the denominators. So we have our hi, which is a numerator, multiplying v, which is also a numerator. Okay, so h multiplying v, right, which will give us hiv, right? And 1 multiplying uj will give us the same uj, right? So we have our gene to be the fraction hiv over uj, right? So this gene here, okay, as an invisible one here, as I explained earlier on, right, is every number is divisible by 1, right? So what you would have to do is, in tackling issues like this, when you reach a point like this, we have two ways of solving it, right? It's either you cross multiply or you multiply through each side by the LCM, right? So the first method, which is cross multiplication, here the denominator would cross multiply the numerator on your left. So the denominator on your right will cross multiply the numerator on your left, and the denominator on your left will cross multiply the numerator on your right, right? Only, right? So you don't multiply the both the denominators, okay, because of the equal to sign here, right? So the equations are in different half of the of the of the equations of the equation, right? So that's that for the cross multiplication, right? And the other way is to multiply through by the LCM, right? So we have 1 and uj. So 1 multiplying uj will give you uj, right? And so that means 1 will go into uj, right? And uj will go into 1, right? So that gives uj the power to be the least common factor, right? Okay, so that's what I use to cancel out. So uj will multiply the fraction hiv over uj, right? And uj will multiply j, right? So we are going to have, 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 so we So we are going to have to cancel out uj with uj here. Okay, hence leaving hiv alone, right? So we have our new fraction to be j multiplying uj will give you ujj. Okay, so we have our new fraction to be, our new equation to be ujj equals hiv, right? So uaj equals hiv, right? And we want to make we want to make I the subject of the relation, right? So but I is is not independent, right? It has some dependencies around surrounding it, right? So these dependencies are h and v, right? So we cancel out hv, right? So we cancel out hv here. Then hv will go into h, it will go into v, leaving I to be the subject of the relation. So therefore we have our I to be the fraction ujj over hv as our final answer, right? Thank you so much for watching today's video. Kindly do well to subscribe for more. Thank you. Bye.